Hello guys, so I have my 2005 Pontiac Montana V6. I have an ABS and traction light on my dashboard. Let's take a look at it. So my dashboard is showing the ABS and traction control light on. Today I'm going to try to figure out what the problem is. I already changed all my wheel bearing sensors, and I'm going to use my diagnostic tool to help me see exactly what the problem is, because it's either the bearing sensors, which I've already changed, or my wiring, or it may be the ABS model itself. So let's check it out and see. Once again, I'm going to use my diagnostic tool, which really comes in handy in this case to help me know what exactly the problems may be. So I'm going to plug it in and see. So I got it in there. Then I'm going to connect my phone to it, scan it, and see the code that comes up. So this is a look on my phone, and I downloaded this Garage Pro app, which cost me $10 for a year, and I'm going to use that to diagnose and see what the problem is. So I'm going to my garage. There's a Pontiac. I want to try and scan again because I've already done it, but I just want you guys to see how the scan tool works. So it turns on the ABS, turns on the device, and I want to check my ABS. So check out for ABS, and it's scanning. So after scanning, it says I have 2 faults. Let's see what the faults are. So I have these 2 codes, C0041 and C0040. The front left tire or the right tire, I'm not so sure. But with these, I went online to check exactly what these codes are, and based on that, I knew it was one of my front ABS system. So I'm going to check. I'm thinking it might be my wiring. So I'm going to check the wiring and see if I have any problem with the wiring. If it's not, then I know it might be my ABS model itself. But I'm going to check the wiring for all 4 tires just to make sure I get everything cleared out and there are no breakages in my wiring. So hang out, stay with me, and we'll check it out. So to make it more visible and easier for you guys to see, I'm going to take off my tire just to be able to locate the cables, the connectors. So I have the jack, and I'm going to put, once I jack it up, I'm going to put a stand up here and jack in both sides. But you have to loosen the tire a little bit, the nuts a little bit, before you jack up the tires. So hold on whilst I do that. So I got both tires on stands. I'm going to take off the tires just to make it easy for you guys to see. Now I got the tires out. That's the tire. And behind the tire, this is the sensor, the connector for the sensor. So this is what I'm going to take out and check the terminals. To take it out, at the bottom, so to take it out at the bottom, just flip this up and then push this down to get rid of to separate the connector. Anyway, I got everything out. Just gonna push onto that. I'm going to use 2 hands. Push this out and then just unplug it. I do that and come back. Now I have it disconnected. So if you remember the diagram that I showed you, I'm going to have it this way. And one will be the A and the other the B. So you can reference onto the diagram, know which one is which. But what I'm going to check one cable at a time. Stay with me whilst I go into the bonnet and disconnect the ABS model connector. This is the bonnet. There's the engine in there and all that. So to locate your ABS modular, it's right back there. That is it, with all the cables coming out of it. So this is the ABS model, and this is the connector that I'm going to disconnect. Then check for continuity from here to the right front wheel sensor and see if there's continuity. So I'm going to disconnect this cable or this connector by lifting up this gray key or switch. I'm going to get my hands in there, lift this gray switch up, and then disconnect this from that. Just push it out. So a tip, so to disconnect this gray clip that I'm talking about or switch, you need to first push this tab in before you can lift it up. So I'm going to use a flat-headed screwdriver to push this tab in, and then I lift that up. I just pushed the tab in. Now this gray is free and I can easily lift it up with my hand. And whilst lifting it up, you're disconnecting the connector. So have it up. Just wiggle the connector out. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. So now I have it up. And that is what we're going to check. This is where we're going to check for continuity. Now I got this long cable here, which I'm going to connect one point into one of the terminals and then take the other end all the way into where the connector is in the ABS module, and then connect my meter to see if there's continuity. So I'm going to put one of the ends in one of the holes. I just have to note which one it is. So with the model positioned this way, I'm going to check my right one first. So I get this. I got this wire to connect into this hole. Then I'm going to secure it in so it doesn't move. I'm going to take the other end of the wire all the way into where I have my ABS modular, and then put it in. Connect it to the meter. with the meter on continuity mode, is going to sound if there's no break in the cable. So I'm going to do that right now. I got the meter set up here to give you an idea of what I'm trying to do. So I have it on the continuity mode, which is that. So if the cable is all good without any break, this is what is going to happen. Once I put the two together, you're going to hear that sound. So let's see this. So with this connected, and with me having the other end of the wire, if I should connect one side of the wire to one of my terminals, like that, then I'm going to put the other end of the wire, connect it to where I have the connector, and if there's no break, you're going to hear that sound. So we're going to the engine to check out for that in there. So come with me. Now I got the wire, one side of the wire connected to one of the terminals, the positive terminal, and the other side of my meter terminal, and I'm going to poke it into the connectors, each of the holes, and see which one will sound for continuity. If none sounds for continuity, I know that cable has a problem, so I'll figure out where the break is on that cable. So the numbering should be 1 from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 14. And then you continue from the middle. Let me zoom in so you can see much better. So the numbering starts from here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 14. And then you continue from the middle, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way. So like that. So I start from here. There is nothing in this number 1, so I'm going to skip. Number 2, I'm going to skip. You can see the connector cables in the number 3. So I'll start from there. So poke it in the number 3. There is no sound. Number 4, no sound. Number 5, no sound. And there's nothing else this way. There's nothing else in here. So I'm going to skip to that one. So I have it in there. No sound. The next one, no sound, and there's nothing here, nothing here, but there's one here. You hear that sound? So that tells me that this is the one for the one I have connected, the right section that I have connected. So that is number 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So number 21 is one of my front right or right front connectors. So I'll write that down for future reference. So 21. And then we're going to change the connection at the tire to the next one. So we're going to change from the cable from this right one to the left one and see what happens. So I changed the cable at the tire, changed it to the next connector, and I'm going to do it all over again. So the first one was 21. I'm suspecting the second one to be right above that, which is that hole, which should be that hole. I think the second one should be this hole right above 21. which is 30, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So I'm going to put it in there and watch. You can see the meter reading. It's not supposed to read. It's supposed to give me a beep. So if it's reading, it means there's a resistance that is causing it to read and not beep. So I'm going down to the tire where I have the connector, and then I'm going to wiggle the cable a little bit and see if I can hear any sound. So just watch it and see. I'm going to wiggle it and see if you would hear any sound come up. So I'm wiggling the cable just to see if you can hear the sound. Oh yeah. So now you can hear the sound. So it means there's a break in that cable. Once I wiggle it, the sound comes up. So now I'm going to look for that break. Because once I wiggle it down here, then the sound comes up. So I know there's a break somewhere in here. I'm going to take the plastic out and figure out where the break is, connect it, and do the same for all the other tires, just to make sure I got it good. So this hole, which I call the B hole, is for terminal 21, and the other hole, which is the A hole, is 35. So just note it for future reference. Now to remove the cover of the housing, I need to open up. Sorry for that. I need to open up this. Just pop it out with a flathead screwdriver, and I think I even got it with my hands, and that will give you access that would help you to get this loosened up. So now I have it opened. Now you can remove all the other clips over here, over there, and free the cable. Then I think the problem, it's within this stretch, and it will keep on occurring in here. So to avoid that, I'm going to change it all the way from here that way, because I think the problem is because of all the turns. Anytime you turn your wheel, it stretches the cable and ends up causing a break with time. So yeah, we're going to change it all the way down. So it's this one, which, yeah, it's this one, which is the green, either green or I don't know if it's green or blue cable. So we're gonna expose it and figure out how to go about it. So once you take this out, I think there's another black plastic protector around it. I'm gonna get all of it out and then figure out where the problem is, and then put a new cable there and either solder it or get a good connector to connect it back up and get it airtight, and that should solve it. Now I got all the connectors released, the cable free. Now I'm going to take it out to get enough room to address the issue. So that is the cable. We're going to take it out and have enough room and address it. Stay with me. I took the protector out, and there's this other black protector on it, which feels so hard and stiff. I think it's exceeded its lifespan, and that might be the problem. I'm going to cut it open to see, because already I'm seeing signs of problems on both cables, pretty much all the way. I'm gonna cut it up, open it up, and then we can see where the problem was coming from. So I got the wire connected back again just to see exactly where on the cable had the problem, and I can see this discoloration right here, and I think that is where the problem is, because once I bend that side, the sound stops, and when I straighten it, it comes back on. So I know that's where the problem is. So we're gonna repair the whole thing from this point all the way back. It's good to get a replacement harness, which I think they sell online for a couple of bucks, and that would be a better fix. But as a temporary fix for now, I'm just going to replace the wire with another cable, and then I'm going to get a tight connection to it, and then test it again and see if I'll still have that breakage in it. Now with a little pull on that spot, the cable just broke, and if you look at it, you can see it's already broken there. So anytime it touches, it gives you a good reading, and anytime it separates, when you turn the wheel, it separates and it gives you a false reading. It turns on the ABS. So we're going to replace the cable all the way back down here as a temporary fix for now, and then later I'm going to get a new replacement harness for it, or proper connection and fixing to it. So that is it. That's how to diagnose faulty ABS with a handy tool, or with the tool that I had in handy. It made it much more easier for me to know where to start from, so that I don't have to remove all the tires at once. So this is just an idea. You can do this for all tires if you don't have that tool to check, and that would help you to know exactly where the problems are coming from. I got the bad cable out, the broken one out, and as I said, for a temporary fix, I got this connector and this cable that I'm going to use to replace just this section, and then once I get a new harness, I'm going to change the entire line from somewhere here and all the way out. And well, I'm going to solder both together, but make sure you always stagger your joint. If you have one joint here, make sure the next one is not going to be right next to it, but it's going to be somewhere far away from it, or somewhere back there, just to make sure you don't end up with a thick cable or touching cables later on. And I'm going to heat shrink this once I clip it, just to make sure it's going to be tight for now, till I change the whole harness. Now I got that fixed, I got the tire back on, and I have my meter on the AC current, as you can see. Yep. And I have the terminals for the meter connected to the 21 and 35 pins or holes, and as I spin the wheel, you can see it's recording the AC voltage based on how hard I spin it. So this tells me that the front right wheel sensor is now reading normal, and there shouldn't be any problem from that end once I get that fixed. I'm going to do that the same for all the other tires and check for any other problem later on. So that's how to check for problems on your ABS and get it fixed. So guys, I'm done with the fix, and now my ABS is off. I'm trying to take it for a test drive and see if it's going to stay off or it's going to come back on. If it does, then I know I have a problem with my model. So stay tuned for other more videos like these, and thanks for watching. See ya.